Hello and welcome to the session on problem solving, definition and steps. Every human is born with some innate capabilities and tries to enhance them for their survival. When the individual sets some goals, initially he does not know the path which will lead him to the solution and usually gets stuck. After that he finds himself in problem and he starts thinking how to overcome the problem and reach to the goal. Problem solving is a means by which previously acquired knowledge, skills and understanding are used to satisfy the demands of an unfamiliar situation. Problem solving is recognized as most important skill which involve various processes including analysis, interpreting, reasoning, predicting, evaluating and reflecting. Developing successful problem solvers is a complex task requiring a range of skills and dispositions. Students need deep knowledge and general reasoning ability as well as heuristic strategies. It is also mandatory to have meaningful beliefs and personal attributes for organizing and directing their efforts. Apart from this, students require good communication skills and the ability to work in cooperative groups. Solving a problem means to find or create new solutions for the problem or to apply the new rules to be learned. The goal of education is to develop skills among the students. Instead of helping the students by giving them notes or using stereotypical method in classroom, the teacher should break the pseudo methodologies and help the students in identifying the problem, analyzing the problem in different ways, make them understand the real cause. By this way, a creative self can be formed. Problem solving ability is an important skill not only helpful in educational matters but also in general life as well. Adolescents who possess poor problem solving ability were overpowered by emotions and often feel stressed. Problem solving requires two distinct types of mental skills, analytical and creative. Analytical or logical thinking includes skills such as ordering, comparing, contrasting, evaluating and selecting. It provides a logical framework for problem solving and helps to select the best alternative from those available by narrowing down the range of possibilities. Analytical thinking often predominates in solving closed problems and where the many possible causes have to be identified and analyzed to find the real cause. Creative thinking is a divergent process using the imagination to create a large range of ideas for solutions. It requires us to look beyond the obvious, creating ideas which may at first seem unrealistic or have no logical connection with the problem. There is a large element of creative thinking in solving open problems. The creative thinking skills can be divided into several key elements. Fluency, producing many ideas, flexibility, producing a broad range of ideas, originality, producing uncommon ideas, elaboration, developing ideas. Effective problem solving requires a controlled mixture of analytical and creative thinking. Research has shown that, in general terms, each side or hemisphere of the brain is specialized to serve one of these groups of skills. The degree of specialization of each hemisphere varies from person to person, but it has given rise to the terms right brain thinking and left brain thinking. Left brain thinking is more logical and analytical and is predominantly verbal. Right brain thinking is more holistic and is concerned with feelings and impressionistic relationships. To be a good problem solver, you need to be able to switch from one group of skills to the other and back again, although this is not always easy. Traditional education gives far greater encouragement to the development and use of left brain thinking. This is reinforced in the way we are required to work, where emphasis is placed on rational, logical analysis of data in drawing conclusions. Some other terms which are often used in discussions of creativity include intuition, the ability to draw conclusions based on impressions and feelings rather than hard facts. It is a characteristic of right brain thinking, and some people rely on it more than others. Incubation, the period between stopping conscious work on a problem and the time when we become aware of a solution or part solution. People struggling with problems often suddenly become aware of a solution after a period of incubation during which the mind is occupied by other things. Invention, the creation of new, meaningful ideas or concepts. Innovation, putting new ideas or concepts to a practical use, as in the development of a new product or service. Skills related to problem solving. When employers talk about problem solving skills, they are often referring to the ability to handle difficult or unexpected situations in the workplace as well as complex business challenges. Organizations rely on people who can assess both kinds of situations and calmly identify solutions. Problem-solving skills are traits that enable you to do that. While problem-solving skills are valued by employers, they are also highly useful in other areas of life like relationship building and day-to-day decision making. In order to be effective at problem solving, you are likely to need some other key skills which include creativity. Problems are usually solved either intuitively or systematically. Intuition is used when no new knowledge is needed. You know enough to be able to make a quick decision and solve the problem, or you use common sense or experience to solve the problem. More complex problems or problems that you have not experienced before will likely require a more systematic and logical approach to solve, and for these you will need to use creative thinking. Researching skills. Defining and solving problems often requires you to do some research. This may be a simple Google search or a more rigorous research project. Team working. Many problems are best defined and solved with the input of other people. Team working may sound like a work thing, but it is just as important at home and school as well as in the workplace. Emotional intelligence. It is worth considering the impact that a problem and/or its solution has on you and other people. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize the emotions of yourself and others, will help guide you to an appropriate solution. Risk management. Solving a problem involves a certain amount of risk. This risk needs to be weighed up against not solving the problem. Decision making. Problem solving and decision making are closely related skills, and making a decision is an important part of the problem solving process, as you will often be faced with various options and alternatives. The five primary steps in problem solving are: first one, analyzing the factors or causes contributing to the unwanted situation. In order to remediate a problem, you must first figure out what caused it. This requires that you gather and evaluate data, isolate possible contributing circumstances, and pinpoint the chief causal factors that need to be addressed in order to resolve the problem. Second one, generating a set of alternative interventions to achieve your end goal. Once you have determined what is causing a problem, it is time to come up with a possible alternative solution. Sometimes this involves teamwork, since two or more minds are often better than one. It is rare that a single strategy is the obvious route to solving a complex problem. Devising a set of alternatives help you to cover your bases and reduce your risk exposure should the first strategy you implement fail. Third one, evaluating the best solutions. Depending upon the nature of the problem and your chain of command, evaluating best solutions may be performed by assigned teams, team leads, or forwarded upward to major corporate decision makers. Whoever makes the decision must evaluate potential costs, required resources, and possible barriers to successful solution implementation. Fourth one, implementing a plan. Once a course of action has been decided upon, it must be implemented along with benchmarks that can quickly and accurately determine whether it's working to solve a problem. Plan implementation also typically involves altering personnel to changes in their standard operating procedures (SOPs). Fifth one, assessing the effectiveness of your interventions. Once a solution is implemented, the best problem solvers have systems in place to ascertain if and how quickly it is working. This way, they know as soon as possible whether the issue has been resolved, or alternatively, whether they'll have to change their response to the problem midstream. Problem solving process. Having good, strong problem-solving skills can make a huge difference to life. Problems are at the center of what make people do at work every day. Whether you are solving a problem for a client, supporting those who are solving problems, or discovering new problems to solve, the problems you face can be large or small, simple or complex, and easy or difficult. A fundamental part of every manager's role is finding ways to solve them. So, being a confident problem solver, it is really important to your success. Much of that confidence comes from having a good process to use when approaching a problem. With one, you can solve problems quickly and effectively. Without one, your solutions may be ineffective, or you will be stuck and do nothing with sometimes painful consequences. There are 4 basic steps in solving a problem: defining the problem, generating alternatives, evaluating and selecting alternatives, and finally implementing solutions. The key to a good problem definition is ensuring that you deal with the real problem, not its symptoms. For example, if performance in your department is substandard, you might think the problem is with the individual submitting the work. However, if you look a bit deeper, the real issue might be a lack of training or an unreasonable workload. Understanding complexity. When your problem is simple, the solution is usually obvious and you do not need to follow the 4 steps we outlined earlier. So it follows that when you are taking this more formal approach, your problem is likely to be complex and difficult to understand because there is a web of interrelated issues. Affinity diagrams are great for organizing many different pieces of information into common themes and for discovering relationships between these. Another popular tool is the cause and effect diagram. To generate viable solutions, you must have a solid understanding of what is causing the problem. When your problem occurs within a business process, creating a flow chart, swim lane diagram, or a systems diagram will help you see how various activities and inputs fit together. This will often help you identify a missing element or bottleneck that's causing your problem. Quite often, what may seem to be a single problem turns out to be a whole series of problems. Going back to our example, substandard work could be caused by insufficient skills, but excessive workloads could also be contributing, as could excessively short lead times and poor motivations. The drill down technique will help you split your problem into smaller parts, each of which can be solved appropriately. Appreciate inquiry takes a uniquely positive approach by helping you solve problems by examining what's working well in the areas surrounding them. Soft systems methodology is designed to help you understand complex problems so that you can start the process of solving them. It uses 4 stages to help you uncover more details about what is creating the problem and then define actions that will improve the situation. Problem solving as an instructional device. Problem solving may be defined as the planned attack upon a difficulty or perplexity for the purpose of finding a solution. Essentially, the problem solving approach to learning is one of training children in the technique of discovery. It is an instructional device whereby the teacher and the pupil attempt in a conscious, planned, purposeful effort to arrive at explanation or solution to some significant difficulty or problematic situation. A problem exists for an individual when he or she has the definite goal she cannot reach by the behavior pattern which he or she already has available. Project with problem solving. Although there are points of similarity between the project and the problem, the differences are quite marked. The project differs in that it demands a practical accomplishment in a real situation. The problem, on the other hand, emphasizes the mental conclusion that is drawn. Of course, the pupil may present his conclusion to the class, but the distinguishing mark of the problem as against the project is that the situation does not demand action. To make up in the project, the activity, both mental and physical, leads to the accomplishment of a task. In the problem, the activity involved leads to mental solution. If the function of education is to enable the child to prepare him for life, problem solving must be encouraged in school life. Methods in problem solving. There are 2 procedures in problem solving method: inductive and deductive. Inductive method. In this method, the pupils are led from particular instances to general conclusions. It is a method of development and logical process of thinking. For example, in a geography lesson, the students, by examining the heights of places located at high places, conclude that temperature decreases as height increases. The inductive method of problem solving has the following characteristics. First, particular cases are dealt with and then laws are derived from them. It leads to new knowledge. It is a method of discovery and therefore it is a method of education. Movements of thought and leads to rules, definitions or principles. Deductive method. In the deductive method, rules, generalizations and principles are provided to the students and then they are asked to verify them with the help of particular examples. For example, the students are told that places situated at high altitudes are cold and then particular examples are taken to prove it. Deduction method has many characteristics. General laws are first stated and particular cases are taken as examples to prove them. It does not lead to new knowledge. It is a method of verification and explanation and therefore it is a method of instruction. Now, how to improve problem solving skills? Problem is something hard to understand or accomplish or deal with. It can be a task, a situation or even a person. Problem solving involves methods and skills to find the best solutions to problems. Problem solving is important because we all have decisions to make, questions to answer in our lives. Amazing people like Roosevelt, Steve Jobs, Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. are all great problem solvers. Good parents, teachers, doctors and waiters, they all have to be good at solving different sort of problems as well. The ability to solve problems applies to more than just mathematics homework. Analytical thinking and problem solving skills are a part of many jobs ranging from accounting and computer programming to detective work and even creative occupations like art, acting and writing. You do not have to be super smart to be a problem solver. You just need to practice. Most people believe that you have to be very intelligent in order to be a good problem solver, but that is not true. When you understand the different steps to solve a problem, you will be able to come up with great solutions. Focus on the solution, not the problem. Neuroscientists have proven that your brain cannot find solutions if you focus on the problem. This is because when you focus on the problem, you are effectively feeding negativity, which in turn activates negative emotions in the brain. These emotions block potential solutions. Adapt various whys to clearly define the problem. By repeatedly asking the question why on a problem, you can dig into the root cause of a problem, and that's how you can find the best solution to tackle the root problem once and for all. Simplify things. As human beings, we have a tendency to make things more complicated than they need to be. Try simplifying your problem by generalizing it. Remove all the details and go back to the basics. Try looking for a really easy, obvious solution. You might be surprised at the results. And we all know that it's often the simple things that are the most productive. List out as many solutions as possible. Try and entertain all possible solutions even if they seem ridiculous at first. It is important you keep an open mind to boost creative thinking, which can trigger potential solutions. No idea is a bad idea, and this aids creative thinking in brainstorms and other problem-solving techniques. Whatever you do, do not ridicule yourself for coming up with stupid solutions, as it is often the crazy ideas that trigger other more viable solutions. Think laterally. Change the direction of your thoughts by thinking laterally. Pay attention to the saying, you cannot dig a hole in a different place by digging it deeper. Try to change your approach and look at things in a new way. You can try flipping your objective around and looking for a solution that is the polar opposite. Even if it feels silly, a fresh and unique approach usually stimulates a fresh solution. Use language that creates possibility. Lead your thinking with phrases like what if and imagine if. These terms open up our brains to think creatively and encourage solutions. Avoid closed, negative language such as I don't think or this is not right but, and so on. Let me now move on to summarize the session. Problem-solving skills help you determine the source of a problem and find an effective solution. Although the problem-solving is often identified as its own separate skill, there are other related skills that contribute to this ability. Some key problem-solving skills include active listening, analysis, research, creativity, communication, dependability, decision-making, team building. Problem-solving skills are important in every career at every level. As a result, effective problem-solving may also require industry or job-specific technical skills. For example, a registered nurse will need active listening and communication skills when interacting with patients, but will also need effective technical knowledge related to diseases and medications. In many cases, a nurse will need to know when to consult a doctor regarding a patient's medical needs as part of the solution. Hope today's session was enriching. Thank you for watching today's program. Goodbye.